Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, it's going to be minimal editing and I wanted to answer a question that I received on Instagram, mainly because I'm going to be honest, I didn't have time to sit down and plan a YouTube video and do all of this editing. I didn't have time for that. Work was really hectic and this summer has just been very busy. But I thought, you know what, Veronia, I'm still going to have a video out today. So in this video, I want to answer a question that I received on Instagram. So if you don't know, I do have Instagram and you can follow me there at Veronia Spain. And if you DM me questions and you guys kind of like this format, I may do some, impromptu videos here and there just answering your questions. So without further ado, let's get started and answer this one. Okay, so when it came to this question, this was based on an Instagram reel that I had actually posted about spending money. So this person asked me, how did you not spend the money you would save for clothes or for a holiday, etc.? Because I have saving pots for these and I just take them out, or are you just more stricter with yourself? And I thought this was a really interesting question because I used to have this same problem as well. So I thought that if I just save a bunch of money and I have money, put aside for things like clothes and holidays and things like that, it would all be fine. But then at times I would find myself dipping into them. And so for me, I would say if you have this specific problem, there are probably two reasons why you have this. So the first reason I would say is that you're not potentially taking into account of how you actually spend your money with your other expenses. So what I mean by this is, in terms of what this person was talking about when she asked the question, she was basically saying, I have these sinking funds that I have, which, people will tell you, make these sinking funds. I also have videos where I'm talking about creating sinking funds, and sinking funds are just, expenses that you want to save up for over time. So maybe you'll have a sinking fund for clothes so that whenever you want to buy clothes, you're ready and you have money there, or for holidays or anything else, to be honest. But when it comes to sinking funds, you need to know how to actually make them work for you. And what this person is saying is she is currently creating some of those sinking funds. So she has a pot for clothes and she has a pot for holidays. But what tends to happen is that she ends up dipping into those sinking funds and spending that money. And so it's almost like she's created the sinking funds to help her, but it hasn't actually helped her. So when I'm talking about this, the reason why I say that you haven't taken into account your other spending is because what is happening is that if you don't know how much you typically spend each month, for example, and it gets to the end of the month and you've actually spent more money, what will happen is that you will end up dipping into your savings. And it could be your savings for any of your other goals. For example, maybe you're saving up for a house deposit, or it could be that you end up dipping into your sinking funds. So with that, you need to understand what patterns you have when it comes to spending. How much do you typically spend on eating out? How much do you typically spend on groceries? If you don't understand how much you spend, well, of course, you're going to end up dipping into some of those saving pots, even if you have done the right thing, which is creating those sinking funds. And this leads me to the second point, where I would say that essentially what is happening, if this continues to happen, is that you're just not being realistic with the way you spend money. So let's say that you decide to create your budget and you decide, okay, I'm going to spend this much on eating out, this much on entertainment, this much on toiletries, and this much on groceries. Well, if you are not already being realistic, again, what will happen is that you will set that budget at the beginning of the week or the month, but then by the end of the month, you may not stick to it. And if you don't stick to it, what happens? You end up having to either, use debt, or in this case, you may end up having to dip into your savings again. So you may end up having to dip into some of those sinking funds that you already created. So it's really important, again, to look at your patterns when it comes to your spending. If you realize that you are spending more on a particular thing, then you may need to adapt that in your budget. So let's say, for example, when it comes to eating out, you put a budget of $50 a month. but then you end up spending around 100 a month and you consistently do that, well, then it doesn't make sense for you to now still budget 50 a month when you're consistently spending 100, because what will happen is that you won't have enough money, and so you have to dip into your savings. So it's really important to, again, learn what your spending patterns are like, but at the same time, you need to be realistic when you're thinking about your spending. When you do both of those things, those sinking funds will then be able to help you, because you won't be consistently overspending, which means when you now put money into your sinking funds, they should work. And then when it comes to actually spending money on your sinking funds, you have the money to spend. So that is my quick answer to this question. But if you do find that you really want to be able to save more money, but something is stopping you, maybe you keep dipping into your savings, or maybe you just don't even feel like you can save money at all and you have no idea how to get started, this is definitely what we do in one-on-one coaching. I've been able to help so many women actually be able to save so much more money so that they can start saving for their house deposit or an emergency fund or even financial independence. So if you like the sound of that, definitely book a call to find out more about one-on-one coaching and working with me. But I hoped you kind of liked this video. I may do more in the future. If you guys do like it, please do let me know. And also, if you want to DM me your questions on Instagram, and I can do more videos where I answer your questions really quickly, I'm happy to do that as well. Again, if you guys like this format. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. If you haven't liked this video already, please do like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want more content, and I will see you guys really soon. Bye.